From just outside the perimeter of Atlanta, Georgia, where we tried our best, but it wasn't enough against some trialists.
Oh God!
Only, it's okay. That's bargain basement. We can only go up from here.
Is that how being back looks like from the cheap seats?
We are back.
We're back,
baby. Like Miggy at the Benz, soon to be.
That's right. Here we go.
Coming to you in living color.
Miggy, can't you see your awesome moves just hypnotize me, and I just love your fancy
flashy ways.
Yeah, okay. I'm sorry. Like I know
that's why they're broken. You're so paid.
This is why we're not broke, so he can get paid.
If you're not watching the video portion of this, hello, I'm Glenn, and we've got Kat and we've got Jennifer here tonight, and Kat's got on her Miggy concrete and strawberry shirt, vintage.
Vintage Miggy.
Vintage Miggy.
Old school, baby. Old school.
Coming back. The latest that we have, it is currently 9:25 on the day on the day of the Lord.
Eastern Standard Time.
Caesar
January 26th, 2025.
Luis Merlo as basically as top tier as it gets, right up there with Fabrizio and Tom Bogert, Tommy Scoops, who I think was the first to kind of drop the bomb on this last week or 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Time is a flat circle. That the deal with Miggy is done. Like, not advancing, not personal terms agreed to.
Yeah.
Like, he's
He'll
going
be here in 2 weeks.
TSA. He is in line, ready to come back, and this is incredible. The fact that this is even happening, and the fact that this is under our new regime with Hendo, with Garth, right? A player like this coming back to your club, like an original guy coming back, it doesn't happen. Like, this won't happen
not
again
coming
in this
back
way.
For a curtain call.
Not coming back for that.
He's coming
not
back,
coming back for vibes.
With a lot left in the tank.
Like,
and a lot
Garth
to
has
give
been very,
to the club.
very explicit with his approach, which I've had disagreements with, we've had agreements with, but he's been consistent in that he wants to build long-term. Sustainability has been something he has said again and again and again. So if he sees that with Miggy, that means he's got plenty in the tank.
Yeah, it's
awesome.
a complete... Yeah, it's a complete kind of flip of the coin to the way that we were talking about Joseph's potential return at the end of the season.
For vibes.
Yeah,
no
it would have been. And it would have been more like, no, of course not. But it was more of the, like, okay, how are we going to use him?
How can we make it work?
What can we sell? What can we sell to Joseph as a plan
can we make him work?
in our vision of how to make him work within the club?
Fitting. Just fitting.
No, and it's not just fitting. It's that they see a vision for him moving forward. It's not a 1-year deal. It's not, let's bring him in. He'll come in. He'll be nice and flashy. It's 3 or 4 year deal.
Yeah,
this is a big deal.
In case you live under a rock, the terms we have heard from Merlo and other various sources are total transfer price of $12 million, which equates to about 10 million pounds. So if you see the 10 million number, that's in pounds, not US dollars, for those who need to math. And we've heard a couple of things. Caesar, the tweet today was a 4-year deal, but I think we've also seen 3 years and an option, which really aligned with the things that Ronnie Dyla has said publicly about not wanting players who do not want to be here. Miggy wanted to come here. He wanted to come back. He wants to play here. He wants to play here for prime years that are left in his tank. And this is not like he didn't have options. Newcastle was going to sell him. The Saudis were willing to pay a hell of a lot more money than we were for him. I think there were a couple of other Prem teams, and there was somebody else in League I think that expressed interest. I don't remember all of the rumors, not the least of which was our neighbor to the north, who basically got turned down flat and had to make other arrangements for exciting long-term loans.
To Miggy for just stringing them along.
God, I love you. if you didn't already love the man, how do you not love him?
It does make you feel a little bit special, doesn't it? Because we've had some people. Well, we've had some people leave us in ways where it kind of felt like that's what I'm saying. They're kind of biting their thumb at us as they walk out the door, and we're like, wait a minute, you don't fucking get it. We're willing. Atlanta is willing to. We will lay down on fucking railroad tracks for you if you're willing to do the same for us. So for them to fucking shoot the middle finger at us as they're leaving, it hurts. It hurts on a personal level, and I think Miggy has always understood that. The way that he was received when he played and came here and played with Newcastle over the summer.
One of the loudest pops I've heard at the Benz.
People were crying, myself included. I had a couple of tears. I welled up. It was so unbelievable, the reception and the love that this city has for him and that he had for us. I'm not surprised that he turned down Charlotte. He doesn't have anything there. There's nothing there for him, but he knows what's here for him.
I also just kind of want to give snaps to Newcastle for showing how it's done. I mean, really, they have handled his exit in every best possible way that they could have. Exactly. Everybody got a lovely bit of closure. If you go and see clips from the end of the match this past week where, Eddie Howe called Miggy out at the 86th minute so he could have a curtain call so the fans could say a proper goodbye to him. That is how you do it. That is how you do it. Take note, MLS. If you've got somebody, it doesn't matter, the Joseph thing is water under the bridge, but you have a player that means something like that to a club. You need to give your fans a proper way to handle their emotions and get that closure.
Unless we forget, they do things a little bit different in Europe. The player has to agree to the move. It's not like here where you can just ship a Franco Ibarra off to Toronto if you want to. It doesn't work like that over there. So Miggy, this deal may work out for Newcastle very well, and it may fit their needs very well, but it doesn't happen without his say-so.
Yeah. Every option is brought in, it's presented, and it's put in front of them. And that means he looked at the possibilities of, like you said, of a West Ham.
Right? I don't know how the dating apps work these days. Which direction is a yes?
He swiped right on Atlanta.
He swiped right. So that's what it is. He took a look at the options that were on the table, and he said, I want to go back home.
And you can
anyway, I don't want to give too much of a cane of her to this because we do not have a formal official cryptic tweet from the club or anything else. I know, but still. You never know.
It's going to be a good one, too. Social media team is cooking.
But it's okay. It's okay because...
what we do have confirmation on, though? That there is a brand new player entering the pitch for Atlanta United FanTV's fan.
Oh, yes. We should shout out to Mike Weiss and his lovely wife on their baby girl, Sophia. That was born just a few days ago. I believe that Mike texted me that information while I was at a Hawks game watching us lose. So that was uplifting. That was a nice salve.
Some things have to give you a boost.
Oh, goodness. If you're a Hawks fan out there, I'm so sorry. We are doing everything we can from a game staff operational standpoint. But the Hawks got that bird flu in Georgia. It's going around. And I don't know what we're going to do about it. But that's another story. But congrats to Mike. All is well. Mom is healthy. Baby is healthy.
Welcome topside.
Baby is adorable.
Oh my God, she's so cute. She's so cute.
Mike, if you're listening to this, bud, I don't know how you do it, man. This is number 3.
She will look even cuter. She will look even cuter in the small form version.
Love. Like, he keeps FanTV going, and he's raising 3 little ones, and he's working, and it's a brand new baby, and he's still doing all this and finding time to care about transfer fees. Like, it's crazy to me to even have one kid the responsibility for all that. You're both parents. I'm not. I will never be one. I have taken steps to ensure that I cannot, and that is for the best. So to me, it's just a minor miracle to be able to bring 3 humans into the world and nurture them and love them in a way. And that is not just in living vicariously through your kid, which I would totally do. My child would be a world-class athlete or an abject failure, and that's not how it should be. You should just support them in whatever they want, and I know I wouldn't. So anyhow, yeah, it was really nice to get that message from him. So Mike, if you're listening, bud, we love you.
Congratulations,
we're happy for you,
smooches.
And we'll get over sometime.
We can't wait to fawn over her at an upcoming tailgate nearby as soon as you feel like letting her out of the house.
Never too young to start. Never too young to start.
Nope. Break them in early.
All right. Moving on.
We'll just keep them away from the smoke.
We want to shout out Mason Mill first before we move on to some other news before we get into takes on the Chattanooga match. Sure. I don't have a clever segue. Hey, it's preseason. If the players are going to say that, then I'm going to say it too. I'm going to use that as an excuse as well. But anyhow, Mason Mill, they are still here on year 27 or whatever year we're on with this thing. They are still with us, which is incredible. This practice has been with us almost from day one. And I mean, they've been with me and Kat for before then, before they were Mason Mill, back when they were Sherwood with Dr.
Y'all's
Sherwood.
Testimonials make me really wish that I lived closer.
Testimonial,
I know, and we wish that for you too.
The testimonial video that we helped, Kat and I were a part of when they shot this video back in November, will be coming out soon. And Dr. Cohen tells me there is a blooper reel also with this. That they may or may not release. He mentioned that Kat had dropped a number of F-bombs, so he's not sure if this can be released widely on social media.
What do you expect from one Emmy Award-winning podcast?
Yes, Emmy Award-winning. And also...
I was hoping, by the way, that I would have that by the time the season started. It doesn't look like it's going to be that way. I'm hoping that I'll get it by mid-March.
Okay. Well, when you do,
I'll feature it probably right around in this area is what I'm thinking. We
are going to make an embarrassingly big deal out of it when it comes.
Yes.
But back to Mason Mill, chiropractor in town. If you've listened to even just one episode of this, you've heard us talk at length about them. But if you're new, welcome. Thank you for listening. And go check out Mason Mill, chiropractic care, essential part of your health. Don't go there just when you're feeling bad. Go there beforehand. Preventative maintenance, y'all. I'm preaching this as an aging man here, coming up on 42. Like, if you're
buying his own inversion tables.
I own an inversion table now. If you're younger, take care of your body now. You will thank me 20 years later. Believe me. Check them out. 404-321-0082. It's the main line. Ashley or Rachel usually pick up and set you up with an initial appointment with Dr. Cohen or Dr. Miner, both very good. Or you can find them on the web also at masonmillchiro.com. They are open Tuesdays through Saturdays, Saturday hours. Really, really clutch. You can book online.
They will take you before tailgates.
Yes.
And then, you can go in. So that you can go in and then you can go out there and go nuts. And exactly.
All right. We love those guys and we appreciate them continuing to ride with us. All right. Moving on. Let's hit a few other topics before we get into the match.
I really need to give a shout out to this news because I think it's absolutely huge and crucial for what's just going on in the world of sport in general.
Naomi,
and that is the transfer deal in place for Naomi Girma to go to Chelsea.
Millions, and the first in the millions, I do believe.
It is.
That's true. It is a record. It is a record-breaking deal.
Naomi Girma, U.S. women,
and we are talking about a woman who I really feel like should have gotten way more consideration for the Ballon d'Or this year than she did. Fair. I think and a woman who a woman who Coach Emma says is the best soccer player she has ever seen play. Period.
Emma said this.
I mean,
Emma said that.
Yeah. I mean, and obviously she's a little bit biased too. So my guess is if Chelsea called up and said, "Hey, we really want to make a deal for this person. How do you feel about this person?" I'm sure that what Emma had to say probably sold the deal.
Put that value up a little higher. Hey, shout out to Chelsea, the women. Men,
Chelsea women.
I don't want to talk about you right now. All right, we ain't gonna talk about them. We ain't gonna talk about Spurs. We're not doing that. The Hawks are struggling right now. We're not doing that. We're keeping this positive. But shout out to Chelsea women for going through kind of what Liverpool was going through, of this big transitional moment between a staple coach who's just been there forever and has experienced unprecedented sustained success. And then that person goes, you bring in someone new, riding. Just keep doing their things. Liverpool's doing it. Chelsea's doing it. It's incredible. And you're right, Jen. Like, what this does, it's another step, right? It's another step for women's sports.
It doesn't seem like a big deal when you talk about like $1 million these days.
Money and its overvaluations everywhere.
You're talking $330 million for Neymar to go to Saudi Arabia or whatever the hell it was, right? Like,
but 10 years ago, women $40,000-$50,000 transfers, like.
If you stagger this down, and I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who's got a friend that plays in the NWSL, and she's a bench player, right? So like the fact that this bench player can now make, I don't know, $40,000 a year or something like that, which isn't great money, but but
you're getting there.
At the end of the day, we're getting to where every woman on the roster of a top tier team is going to be able to live off being a professional athlete, as opposed to And so the more, you have to break the ice somewhere. And, there's a lot of talent coming up behind Naomi Girma on a global level. It's not just coming out of the US anymore. I'm not surprised it was Naomi, and, because of the talent level that she was the one who broke the ice here with it. But I think this is literally the tip of the iceberg to come in the way that the women's game is being valued economically now. Right? That's the big global pictures. Okay, now women can make a living doing this, but also women can make a living doing this because these teams are financially solvent and stable.
Yeah.
Because they're good investments now for the people that have that kind of money to flash around.
Yeah, it kind of breaks the ice, going over that $1 million threshold that are like, okay, well, now that somebody else has done it, now that sets the bar, I don't want to say it sets the bar at the lowest, but you're like, okay, well, also they just paid $1 million for Girma. So you're talking about other transfers and stuff like that, that it's constantly etching it up higher and higher as it goes.
Not only that, Naomi Girma is a defender.
I was just about to say, we talk about flashy position. Or a number 10.
Yes,
we're talking about $1 million plus.
She doesn't go out and score goals.
Back.
That's not her job.
Right.
Yeah, that's not her job.
All right.
Yeah. But when you look at a player like a Linda Caicedo, who at some point in time is going to make a club move in the next year or two, how much are you going to pay for that kind of excitement?
Yesterday's price is not today's price. And that's how it should be.
Yes, exactly.
This is another really big step. I think, for me, it feels like the women's game is growing faster than the rate of the men's game when it was still growing. Like, it feels like the accelerant is being added a little bit more. Like 10 years ago, never. And you couldn't see what happened now. 10 years ago, you called you crazy. $1 million for a defender? Get out of here.
Well, and you had so many incarnations of the women's top tier leagues, right? You still even have that today. And there's been a lot of discussion about the WNBA and its long-term viability and things like that as well. All of that landscape has changed because of what's her face from Iowa. I can't remember her, or Indiana or wherever.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark, right? And her rivalry now with Angel what's-her-face. And like, I don't even follow basketball and I know who these
Angel
people
Reese.
are. Yeah.
Well, and that's the point. I don't either.
Right. You know their names.
And I know who I knew their names immediately. I knew what colleges they played for because that's the level that I observed it on.
How many female athletes outside of the 4-year Olympic cycle are instant recall celebrities for most of America at this point? How many can you count? Very few.
Goff, Simone Biles, so on and so forth.
But you're not talking about like an ongoing professional sports league.
No, not really. I mean, that's what it is. If beyond the Olympics.
That's what I'm saying. You don't talk about Simone for the 3 years leading up to the Olympics.
Yeah, because there's no gymnastics league that you watch, week to week, day to day.
Regularly, tennis is year round.
Sure,
but I hear what you're saying.
That's a good example. But that's exactly. One.
No, I hear what you're saying. It's a good thing.
So I mean, again, the fact that this is becoming a more and more relevant topic, the fact that there are more and more female athletes that are getting the same kind of buzz, discussion on sports radio, sports media, etc. It's not equal by a long shot, but you got to start somewhere. So, it's nice to see that starting to snowball in some regards.
And it is unfortunate. I do want to make just a very quick mention of it. It is really unfortunate for Caitlin Clark that she basically was completely bullied out of the WNBA in her very first season, and has decided that she no longer wants to play in the WNBA and has decided to play abroad instead because of the way that she was treated here. And I think that we had such an opportunity to see who could very possibly be one of the greatest female basketball players of all time play the game, but because egos got in the way, they shoved out an unbelievable talent. And I don't blame Caitlin Clark for wanting to leave at all. I wouldn't want to fucking play here if that's the way I was being treated. It's awful. And it's too bad. Has she officially
announced? I mean, I know she's playing there for off season, but is she done?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure. And maybe I'm wrong. Don't misquote me on that. But for it to have happened at all is fucking pathetic. It's absolutely pathetic.
Yeah, she's a unique one because
all of those
she
women
doesn't need to travel to make the money because of all her endorsements and stuff. Whereas other WNBA players, I mean, that's why we had all the trouble with Russia, right? Like, because players have to go and play in other parts of the world just to make a living.
But at a time where women's sports is surging, it's really fucking terrible that they would take someone and just bully them off of their talent alone. That's a horrible thing to have happened. So it's an unfortunate difference, I guess, maybe between football and basketball.
I mean, there's definitely been some instances of situations like that, but again, these are occurrences that happen far more frequently in the women's game, just because it's again, you've got less eyes, you can there's a lot more stuff that we don't see or hear or talk about going on. So we don't have to fill a 24-hour news cycle talking about women's sports yet.
But so you have this unbelievable talent in Caitlin Clark, and they bullied her out of it, and now you've just turned any of those eyes that turned towards that sport because of her are now looking away again, and that's the sad part.
So
she only brought more viewership to the game, and now they're not there anymore, and that's unfortunate for women's basketball. So let's hope nothing like that ever occurs in women's football. And it doesn't feel like it is. It only feels like it's only getting better. So that's good.
All right, back to Atlanta United news before we move into takes. So if you were watching any English footy this weekend, we all saw Latte Lath came off injured for Borough, for Middlesboro, in the 10th minute, holding his groin. How severe? Don't know. Hasn't been any additional confirmed reporting the extent of the injury or if he was just being cautious. The club was being cautious. Right. I don't know if I really buy that because I'm sure that Middlesbrough would very much like the money, but they are in a promotion fight. They are currently sitting 6th in the championship, which is good enough for a playoff spot, and they need every goal they can get. So you're not going to sub him off. I don't think, even with all that money on the table.
Not on the prospect of a sale. Not if that's the only reason. So like they're like, I
hope he's okay.
A little,
but that might affect the deal. But we do have somebody else that the club is reportedly looking at, and Arthur Cabral from Benfica. Offering around the same kind of valuation that we were going to pay for Latte Lath, which is around that 20
Another
million.
Good club.
There's a lot of discussion he's going to go to Brazil. Like that. See, it seems to be, I think it was Botafogo or Palmeiras that was in the lead, supposedly for him, if you believe the European press and the pundits and whatever. But I think, I think Middlesbrough is the team that kind of screwed all this up. The impressions that we had from the rumors that we saw from Merlo, from Romano, from Tom Bogart, because I am very loath to quote tier 2 sourcing. Right. I would put Ben Jacobs up there too as well, because Ben Jacobs definitely, I think, has his finger on it. You hear a lot of this, that, and the other, and there's certainly plenty of other media sources that are verifiable and trustworthy out of all sorts of places. But those are the ones I typically just go to. I try, not to get bogged down with all this day to day. Anyway, if you want to believe what all that is that there was a deal in principle, verbally agreed to by Middlesbrough, and the player was willing, which is, again, as Glenn mentioned, very important important to this component here. The players in Europe have to want to come here. So all of that being said, it looked like everything was good, but I believe Middlesboro was, in fact, I don't know that Middlesboro was playing with a full deck. It seems to me from all the reporting that's come out is they were definitely trying to get a bidding war started. And because they're in a promotion battle, I think they wound up playing him a little bit more because they don't really have any offense behind him.
Right, they need a replacement. They're going to need the money to do that too.
Yeah, they need a replacement. They need a replacement to come in before they can let him go. So now that there is some sort of issue, muscular injury that nobody's really, like I said, nobody has any news as to how serious it is, but, it certainly muddies the water. And, if you were dangling this player out on a move, which to all intents and purposes, Middlesboro was going to have to move him this window to maximize his value, at least from everything that I read. Why would you risk it?
I don't know.
Why would you risk it starting him so much? I don't understand that.
Does it mean, and somebody, tell me if I'm not wrong here, or if I am wrong, does it mean maybe potentially that the deal still goes through? It just, we get him cheaper.
I mean, the cost,
if we were going to buy him, if we were going to buy a fully healthy striker at 10 million pounds, do we get him now for 7.5?
Well, we were going to pay 20 million pounds.
Well, you're
talking about a record outgoing transfer for Middlesbrough and a record inbound transfer for MLS.
Yeah, so
you are talking very
for now an injured player.
I think
for a player whose health and fitness is now very much questionable.
I think he's going to have to go through a medical regardless. But yeah, it puts it into question. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, and I think the one thing I will say, and I've said this in a couple of other places, I think, we as the fan base probably need to take a step back and a deep breath that signing 2 DPs in one transfer window is a very difficult and tricky order of business to accomplish in a way that makes sense if you're talking about a sustainable business model. And 2, for me personally, I don't know that I hate going into the season with a couple of backup number 9s, I don't think TR is that bad if he only has to go for 70 minutes. If you are bringing Miggy in here, because I think if you have Miggy and Saba, hopefully
we have our Japanese striker now, the third string.
We do.
Togashi.
So
we do. But I mean, nobody really knows what he's capable of doing as of yet, and he was playing Japanese League 2, and I don't know that. I'm just saying, I wouldn't hate it if we had to wait until July, because what I don't want them to do is to settle for a player who cannot be that
I don't think we're going
to
wait. 9 is too important. I think out of all these deals, the Miggy one sounds like it was the easiest. So I think it's going to be full steam ahead on finding a good
completely agree.
9. And if it's Cabral, okay.
Yeah, but do you want it if you can't get Cabral? And
then we might wait.
Edward guy turned us, and the Odison Edward guy turned us down. He did turn us down. And now we have fitness issues with Latte Lath, and we had fitness issues with Gigi.
They won't just sign a 9.
Wait. And Kyogo just signed with was it Leon or?
Yeah, he's gone. He's off the table.
Yeah, and Kyogo Ren. It was Ren. Kyogo went to Ren. So all the guys that we have been linked to have pretty much wound up elsewhere,
it's not there. Garth ain't
That's
gonna
what
do
I'm saying.
it.
Like, why are we making this the thing if we're bringing Miggy back and we have Saba and we have Morancha?
Well, look,
and we have someone serviceable up top for the first part of the season.
He might be okay. So he needs a couple weeks. All right, we could deal with that. I deal with a growing pull, and you're not fully fit.
I get very, very, very concerned given the injury history that Gigi had and the injury history that Joseph had.
I don't think Latte Lath
But we don't know if Latte Lath has a history in, like, we don't know if he has an injury history. So, yeah, if this is just a single injury,
suspicion is the sale.
It sucks for the beginning of the season, but that doesn't mean he's done forever.
The sale goes through.
Or prone forever.
I think Garth shows up with a coupon.
That's what I'm saying. We get him, but we get him cheaper. We say,
money,
I mean, you guys decided it was important
money,
enough to play him.
It's likes money, but I think it's going to work out. Positivity.
We're trying. We're
Who
trying
are you,
for the
Glenn?
Listen, man, I'm over here trying. All right. All right, let's move into the match that was
the actual
yesterday
match
that I had to rewatch today because I had to watch the Hawks lose yesterday. I'm
sorry.
Look, number one, it's preseason, but yeah, it's still disappointing to get beat by a bunch of lower league players who some of them aren't even on contracts yet. They're out there fighting for a job.
Mike Conti did a very good job of calling each Chattanooga person trialist number 30. Trialist number 18.
That was
number 15.
Man of the match are Mike and Jason for the trialists. I know. And that was just
here's what's really funny. At one point, I don't know if you listened to it, but at one point he says, I did this last year, and Mike, you calling them trialist so-and-so and trialist so-and-so is a brilliant way to do it. All I can think of is, how did they do it before? What did they call him? Number 15? Yeah, so. Like, what did they say if they didn't call him trialist 30 or whatever? But I thought he did a really good job of constantly having to say that word over and over and over. But it was it's one of those tale of two halves kind of thing, literally, because it's an entirely different squad on both halves of the game.
We kind of just got out hustled, which maybe you could understand because our team, the guys have their contracts for the most part.
I don't know though.
These guys are out there fighting for a job.
You had a bunch of kids. You had Dominic Chunky. I want to call him Chunky Monkey, but that guy who's on a deal with the twos. You had Renz, who was the goal scorer, who I believe is on a two. Is like he was our draft pick.
Yeah, he was a draft pick.
Win. Yeah, you have Riley, who is and you have Matt Edwards, you have Luke Brennan. You got some guys that are hungry for.
Hey, we're gonna shout out Luke Brennan later. Yeah. He was very good.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, like, you had similar hunger style players out there. Okay. Granted, they weren't necessarily playing for contracts themselves, but they still had a lot to prove.
For what it's worth, trouble with lower division teams has kind of been a thing with us in the past. Yeah. It hasn't always gone well.
We're very the thing that's disturbing is that there's no sign that we have broken the pattern of playing down to the level of our opponent
or getting scored on immediately after scoring.
Honestly, guys, I think we may be taking it just a little bit too seriously. I think losing
not the
this game wasn't even a thing that I even gave a damn about. I'm just saying I was examining each individual player. That's the only thing I was looking at. I will say this: Marinchuk missed two fucking sitters, and I was like,
we'll talk about him. All right.
I was like,
Glenn is confirming that.
Like, here's the look, I don't care who wins in these kinds of games, but it'd be nice to put the fucking ball in the back of the net when you should.
Yeah, he's still my biggest concern.
And I'm like, God damn
year.
It, dude! Like, don't make me fucking hate you.
All right,
don't.
We look tired. I mean, fitness is building. But here's my only concern with it is that we have had.
And by the way, hold on. I was just going to say, Chattanooga is still 3 weeks before their preseason even starts. So they're not tired. They might have been more hungry. Like you said, they're hungry for contracts, but they're not any more seasoned than we are. Yeah. So why do we look tired?
I don't know, the intense training. And I'm just something to keep an eye on because it has been a problem in the past of being overworked, overtrained. That's the Heinz no water era. I don't think Dyla's that. Like, I'm just saying that we have experienced a number of fatigue issues, injury issues in training, and
we also. Be careful. I will bring up, and I will bring up the point that we have an entirely new sports science department.
Yes, we do.
So there has to be a bunch of integrations and things like that are going on over the last 11 days and ongoing with changing the whole fitness mentality that's going on here. So I'm sure that
everybody
I'm not again. No, hopefully it's a good
It's going to be a great thing. Yeah. Everybody
because
is going to be
I literally
fine.
Spent all weekend with the exception of the soccer match watching figure skating nationals, and like the number of skaters who were just gassed at the end of their programs was staggering. Like I was like, what are where's your it's if you are good enough to go to nationals, the time is
how are you that tired?
It shouldn't be like that.
Nope, we're gonna get everybody fit, and sports science is gonna wrap everybody up in KT tape. Everything's going to be fine.
That's right.
Hopefully we don't need the damn KT tape.
All right. Number 3. It's probably time to have a look at Jaden Ebert when he's available. I know he hasn't been with training, but Cohen, I don't like throwing shade at people.
I have zero confidence.
He's
in
not
him
the guy
at all.
I always thought he was kind of an odd choice as the heir apparent. Apart from youth and his age, okay, and maybe some athleticism, he doesn't like the role of the keeper has been very clearly defined by Brad in this club as far as the type of person and personality that is needed back
very
there.
Much so.
And Cohen doesn't really seem to fit that. So it was an odd choice, much like, and we'll get into this in later on. I feel Marinchuk is an odd choice given of who has had that role in the past and what we have asked of that role. I don't think Cohen is the guy. And I would love to get a look at Jaden. Had a great year last year for the twos and set a record high for saves. Not that that's a record you particularly want for your team, but if your job, hey, I'm just doing my job, keep the ball out, like talk to those guys, quit shooting on me. I would like to see him. We have a very good track record of, from the twos in the academy.
Now's the time. Yeah, now's the time. So I don't know. Maybe they were just giving Cohen some minutes, but
they
maybe
were because Jaden hasn't been trading. He hasn't been
Mm-hmm.
available yet. I don't know if that's injury or what's going on there.
I don't know, but at the end of the day, we are going to need a competent backup.
Yeah. Okay. I don't feel good about.
So there is that, is Cohen the heir apparent to the starter role from Brad? I haven't really seen anything to indicate that is the case.
No, I don't.
Even in the limited minutes.
And I think it become and for me, it's we all know he's probably a little bit and I mean all Guzana-sans aside, because all of us I think Guz might have actually listened to the podcast when we said we didn't think he could stop a shot if it hit him flat in the face around mid-season last year, and then all of a sudden he turned into freaking like Spider-Man, like unbelievable. So I will never say anything.
One of the best seasons of his career,
like, for real. Like credit where credit is due. But in theory, Josh Cohen was supposed to be the better shot stopper because he used a little bit more sprint,
and his distribution also not great.
Well, the distribution was always the problem with him. Great. That was what I was trying to get to. So it's
I think that's
really,
and we don't really have another person that we're already building up.
What I think was the most telling. What I think
Rocco and his mustache went to Miami.
He did. Rocco Rios Novo playing with Messi. What a timeline we're on. I don't get it.
By the way, hey,
I know. I hate this timeline.
Can we give Baby Keeper some snaps for that ridiculous, horrifying, the worst shootout I've ever seen in my whole life? Where whatever that stupid preseason was with Miami and I think it was Club America, and Rios Novo stopped 4 penalties against Club America. Like it was unreal. Like come on,
unbelievable.
The U.S. Open Cup hero.
Keeper has been so that's actually an interesting point because Keeper has been until last year. Which is the weirdest thing. Until last year, Keeper was something that was really high up, I think, on a lot of people's lists of a big need for us.
Everybody thought Brad was done, and now everybody's all in Brad we trust.
It's gonna be.
Yeah, so that means, since we're not obviously shopping for a keeper right now, that means they have every confidence that Brad is going to be the guy for at least a whole nother season.
It has to be in the back of everybody's head, though, because
I hope so, but I said that 3 years ago.
You were wrong,
and
Matt. You were wrong.
A lot of us were wrong. Let's be real.
And we still don't have. We got Cohen. Well, Cohen's not work. Cohen's not going to work.
I think if you're looking at it from a timeline perspective, if Hibbert somehow comes up as good as advertised or as indications are that he will be, you have Cohen there this season to be the MLS backup, and Hibbert can keep getting minutes with the twos, which, clearly is good for him from a rep standpoint because you're getting, you're facing a firing squad in MLS Next Pro, like the amount of shots and work that keepers get down there versus riding pine in MLS where you're not getting any touches on the ball. And I think that also didn't help Cohen at all because Goose said, "Fuck you, bitches. I ain't giving this net up."
No, it's true.
Unless, of course, he's being pushed into the back of it by Suarez.
I do think But I do think that there was an expectation that there would be a bit more of a rotation.
And it wasn't there. And
just
didn't
hell
get
no
all
to.
those minutes.
It was so
and
bad.
Look, if it happens,
floundering.
I won't be shocked because we have a very well-worn path of development that Luke Brennan is now traversing. Apparently been making the most out of the Planet Fitness Black Card. He's been at the gym. He's been lifting some heavy
anywhere,
stuff.
Anytime. I really, that is something that I did really enjoy, was watching the first half with all of our young guys. Great. We know what our older guys look like. So unless they're brand new, we know what they look like.
I'd give him low-key man of the match, honestly. Luke was.
I really liked his 45. I liked Edwards, sure. And I liked Kwang Shi. Is that the other guy? I liked him.
Just call him Dominic. That's his first name.
Okay, Dominic.
I can remember Dominic better than his last name. I'm sorry. Sure. I'm sorry, whoever Dominic
Togashi. Yeah. I liked getting a look at some of the younger guys and getting a look at some of the newer guys. It really shows again how good our academy is and how good
everything development at this club is
how much do we put behind our development?
Well,
because it's working,
and this is the thing, because I think people from the outside looking in, they look at the twos record and we didn't even make the playoffs last.
But that's
season,
not the point of the twos.
That's not the point of it. That's not the point of that league.
That's why Jaden had the number of saves that he did, because like you said, you're going to get shot on. It's going to happen.
Yeah. But that's good, like you said.
It's great.
The more times you get shot on, the more saves you make, and the more experience you get.
And I'm fine with that. Jennifer said, which is right.
And I feel like I expected I expected some more balls to go in the back of the net yesterday by the ones who.
Oh boy!
Well, they did. The Chattanooga keeper made one hell of a save on.
That was off of.
It was mascara, I believe.
Yeah. Volley.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, great save.
But I the other thing that I found very encouraging from the offense was that there were two things that stuck out to me. I liked in the second half that Togashi, who I'm going to have a very hard time not calling Tamagotchi. I'm going to apologize in advance for calling you a cute little digital pet, Tamagotchi. But yeah, so I want all. I am disappointed that we didn't get Kyogo because I really loved the idea of a season full of kawaii themes. But that's just weird. And Lily would have appreciated that. It's a shout for Lily. But in any case, I liked the spaces that Togashi was finding. Togashi had a nose for the net. He was hungry. He was getting in front of the goal. He was looking for passes that, as Dyla said in his press conference, we were not making. And this is where I'm already in love with Ronnie Dyla. And can you please take your shirt off more often for me? Because any coach who says, they were going backwards and it was too safe and I was bored watching it. Thank you.
Thank you.
For the love of all that's holy. Thank you.
He fucking named the puppy and that's the best part of, yes. Yes. Thank you.
I mean, it was,
Say the awkward thing out loud. Say it.
I mean, I'm all for going forward too, but I don't want to end Postacoglu this and just, play forward the entire time. A little balance, which I think he will do.
We're not talking about Spurs.
I was going to say that was below the belt.
Just a little bit. I had to get it
really low,
just a little bit.
Really.
Well,
low.
speaking
of
passing and what he wasn't seeing, this kind of goes into number 5. Look, in this league, even with the roster rule changes that have been made and the flexibility now given to teams with additional buyouts and these internal cash trading, but buying a player for cash, what a novel idea. MLS catching up. This league is still ruled by your DPs. If your DPs don't work and they don't fire, they don't win.
Perform.
That's it.
No.
Miranchuk has to be more clinical and more precise, exponentially so, than what we saw. I don't know how hard he was trying. This is what I was.
For fucking sake,
this is why I thought he was curious. In that position, what we have typically seen and asked of that role, he is very different then. And I thought that was a curious signing to make midsummer, and then we have to find other very specific pieces that will work with him. Now, Miggy will, and if we get a proper striker, that could work out very well. But, he's not going to be on the ball like previous players we've had in that position. So when the ball does come off his foot, or if he can at least make contact with the ball with his foot this season, it has to be pinpoint. Like, if you have that quality, we have to see that most of the time, because you're not going to spend as much time on the ball. So, like, the percentage of your time on the ball is shorter. Your quality has to kind of go up, concurrently with that. And I'm concerned.
So a lot of the mock starting 11s that I've seen that include the new players, the new signings, put Marinchuk as a defensive midfielder, as basically the two defending midfielders in the back. With
Are you talking about playing him at the 8 as the pivot?
Yes,
okay,
potentially. That plays. It puts Miggy back in the center as the attacking mid that he should be, and allows with Latte Lath up front. So it's like sorry, I got to think about this.
He's basically
like
the first pass in a 3-pass,
or something. You know what I mean?
Kind of attack sequence. He unlocks
it's like a
and
1,
then it goes
2,
forward.
He's the
4,
ping
2,
in
1.
a ping pang pong.
Say it one more time.
He's the ping in a ping pang pong.
Yes.
Make the banner
like that. I'm just gonna say yes because I don't know what the fuck you just said. But that's an interesting. So think about it in terms of like a Darlington Nagby. Okay, in that Marinchuk is not a flashy player. He's not going to be that guy.
He's not going to take someone on the
not
dribble.
all that.
No.
He doesn't. Right. He's not super fast. He doesn't seem to be.
We're relying on his vision.
He's not going to.
And laser accuracy with
as
a
a defensive midfielder. As a defensive midfielder, he doesn't have. He only has to see maybe 2 passes ahead.
Okay,
and then it jumps up to the midfielders. The person who we're going to put in that center midfielder role.
I have a question. For the pod forum. I have a question for the pod forum.
What do you got?
What was so special about Darlington Nagby? What did he do that was so great?
Everything that he did was
what is everything? What is everything? What was his role? What did he do that made him
very
that
easy? Shoe phone.
Yeah.
Shoe phone.
What did you say? Shoe phone.
Okay. On the pitch, what was it that Darlington did?
Okay.
What did Darlington do?
Well, I would say that he was the guy that pulled all the strings.
Correct. He was air traffic control.
Right. So not what I'm saying about Marinchuk. So I guess what I mean is that I compared him in the sense that he's not. Let me
throw a question for the forum.
Let me throw this out to you. When Marinchuk came over here last summer, he was the leading chance creator in Serie A.
Okay.
Right? That's what he went to UAU. That's what he was brought in here to do. How do you create chances for a front four of Saba?
It's fair.
Tiare Rios, Brooks Lennon, maybe, and who?
Yeah, I hear you.
I'm just saying. So if you're going to take out the Brooks Lennon and who aspect of our front four and replace that with Miggy and a competent striker, and now you have Click in the back, who was great, by the way, and no one's really talking about. God, no.
Yes.
Mateusz Click. Oh my, am I saying that right? Like, I don't know. My Polish.
I heard Click. Bad. I heard Click over and over and over. Click. I also heard them call Bartek or Bartok 3 different times. So I don't.
Hey, maybe we need to get a pronunciation guide from the media team. I don't know.
That's our next episode, pronouncing the 5 stripes. We'll do.
It took. I know. I was going to say it took us 6 weeks to say Labjanice. So
my point being is that what I was seeing Marinchuk do was pinpoint passes 2 to 3 feet in front of the players that were actually on the pitch with him. So the passes were going to the right spot. The players he had to feed the ball to, because it wasn't Saba.
Yeah.
It was not Saba. Okay. But the passes that were going to the spaces, the players weren't caught up to where those spaces are. So I think the anticipation is different people with more speed. And you're talking about 2 players who can absolutely fly in Miggy and Saba.
You're right,
That's what I'm asking. That's what I'm asking.
I'm not
so he
saying,
only has to see.
I feel like
I think we're saying the same thing. I
think that's just where the vision is for the type of player that he is supposed to be, and
that's what I think.
That's what I. So I don't think you're wrong in the Nagby equation of this, because Nagby was very quiet about what he did.
That's all I really am comparing.
Okay.
That's and I'm gonna be. Yeah, let me make sure that I'm clear on that. That is really all I was comparing him to, was somebody who's not a flashy player. They do their job. They do their job insanely well, and you don't always hear their name. You know what I'm saying?
But you die without that player on the pitch.
And look,
he's the puppet master.
If this all works out just like you're saying, I will bring the crow over to your house. You can cook it up. I will eat it. It'll be the most delicious crow I ever eat in my life. I hope so.
Glenn, here's the thing. The thing. I'm not judging anything that you're saying, because we still haven't set up the team for Marinchuk to succeed yet. Now we're starting to. It's what we were saying all to the end of last season, is what are we going to do in the offseason? What are we going to do in the transfer window to set the team up for that? So I don't think that anything that you're saying is wrong. We just still don't know enough. We've still had that small sample size. So everything that he's got. No. I don't disagree. Everything that he's got, he has to do better than what we already saw, but maybe we're starting to set things up to allow him to do that.
And that's fair. Like, we haven't,
so
we
let's
always
give
want
it
him to
a
be
little
better,
bit more
but we
time.
haven't seen what he's really meant to be. I haven't been able to judge that. It's not like we've seen what he's meant to be, and that needs to be better.
And that's
we haven't seen that at all.
Exactly.
So
this is what I'm saying.
Fair.
This is what I'm
again,
saying.
I feel
like this preseason game wasn't that
right.
Either.
No. I am actually very encouraged about the spaces that he is finding, and the vision that I've seen, the ideas that he has. And I said this, going through pods at the end of last season, that he's out there playing 4D chess.
Yeah, no.
And everybody else is playing checkers.
Fat Mob.
Yeah, we were very much playing throw as much shit at the wall as we can and see how many playoff games we could get through. And we got
I agree
quite
with
a few,
you on the
and it was
vision
fun.
thing. Like, if Fat Mob did an expected space, it would be very high.
Yeah, we've been speculating about his football IQ and Saba's aggressive nature and being able to Saba can whip in those balls, and we just need somebody to be there.
Good.
And
again, off corner.
If you've got two speedy wingers who can score, both in Miggy and Saba, both of whom are speedy as hell, and they can absolutely score, and then you have two high quality fullbacks in Amador and Brooks when he gets healthy, or Brennan if he comes to form.
If Pedro doesn't drop off.
I'm just saying, you've got a lot of offensive options for a player of Maranchuk's IQ to utilize, and that's without a DP9.
Oh man, the
balls
not even
including
that Pedro is going to feed to Miggy is
or just to a proper
so
striker.
Sweet.
He's already feeding dime balls and getting close to double-digit assists for his limited time that he's had here. If he gets somebody that is even more clinical, who
can actually finish,
that's job is a proper regular starting number 9 at a pretty high level club. You would expect that assist number to go even higher.
So exciting!
Yeah,
I know. And I really do want to I feel like and we didn't do a low key man of the match or whatever, but my man of the match was Sabal Jan. My God, I am here for seriously. Every time his service from corners, I just want to cry.
Watch him play. He's got the guy doesn't know how to not do 110% all the time.
He has one gear.
He has one mode.
I'm surprised given how hard he goes all the time that he isn't more injured.
Well, listen. Let me give you
Shut your whore mouth, Glenn.
I know. You stop for a second. Listen, I played softball my entire life, from the age I was 6 until I still play. If I were to go outside right now, I could still hurl it and probably smack a ball to the fence. Okay. It's ingrained in my DNA at this point. Okay. When I started playing rec ball in my my early 30s, they didn't have anybody at first base who could catch the ball that I would throw, because I don't know how to not throw the ball hard. Does that make sense? the funny thing is actually that if I try to throw it softly, I am far, far less accurate than if I just absolutely bean it at you. If I do that, I'm going to nail it in the right spot every time because I did it so much. I drilled and drilled and drilled for 20 years on throwing the ball down from catcher to second base or from third base to first base. I only know how to throw the ball accurately and hard to one place. I don't know how to not do that. And that's the only thing I can think of. I think that's what I think of when I think of Saba, is that the man is just so good at playing fast and hard and intensity. And it's like, I feel bad that anybody would tell him to slow down. It's like you're trying to tell someone not to live up to their best potential just because the guy on the other end can't catch it.
Just don't
God,
pull a
that
hammy.
sucks.
That's all.
I feel bad for him though. I do.
Don't pull a hammy.
It's
That's
like,
all I'm saying. Just be careful.
well, sure. But there has been so many times last year where you were like, oh, well, maybe he whipped that ball in with a little bit too much pace. It's like, well, how about we get some fucking people on the other end?
That was the problem for 80% of the season last year is, and again, just the way that positions line up, because we said, again, toward the end of the season was that he and Moranchuk were playing on a whole different, it was like they were playing on a completely different game board than everybody else.
That's right.
And it was great starting to see that chemistry between those two start to build. But as complicated and layered as their brand of soccer is, that is going to take some time.
Yeah. Yeah. And it will. And it's going to take.
What is that? What's that? Watching the video feed.
Oh my God. Is it Fabrizio?
Fabrizio Romano.
From Fabrizio Romano. On Miguel Almiron. It's done. It's done,
happening.
Y'all.
It's happening. It's happening.
It's all happening.
That is the toppest of top tier, Fabrizio.
That's right.
Incredible.
Well, at this point too, we're not hearing any rumors that it's not happening. The only rumors we're hearing is how much it's happening.
Here we go, unless that shit is done. So look for a fire announcement from the social media team, who have been brainstorming for 2 weeks on something.
And before we wrap up, this is something that I've said a few times now, and I've said it to everybody that's been interested when it comes to the Miggy thing. Okay, one of the things that we were talking about last year, especially towards the mid season when we let go of Gonzo and things like that, was you're starting to lose the hardest cores of the fans, right? The hardest core fans, right? So a lot of people weren't renewing their season tickets, and you weren't getting as many people at the tailgates, and the supporter section is starting to look a little thin in some places. And even like, God forbid we had any Wednesday night games or anything like that, because there'd be nobody there. You were starting to lose some of the diehard 17s, and that was sad. I know that we all mentioned that. We're like, God, this is not the way this is supposed to be. But I'll tell you this, I understand it's strategic in nature for bringing Miggy back is strategic in nature for the team, for the actual gameplay. But if you want to put butts in seats, this was the most brilliant move he ever could have made when it comes to a fan favorite coming back. We talked about the potential of Joseph and what that might mean, but Miggy is a sure fucking thing.
I don't think anybody, I think when
people loving him and wanting to see him play again.
I don't think any of us really had a thought in our wildest dreams at the end of last season that this was even a remote possibility.
Not at all. Like we were prospecting about Joseph. We joke about Tito, and things like, when we were in the playoffs, we needed Franco, things like that. We joke about the people that have left and gone away and everything like that.
I mean, there's so many people that still pine for Julian Gressel for a lot of reasons. There's
sure. That's exactly it. Bring Gressel back and everything. Things are never going to be the same way that they were in 18. We all know that. We're not stupid, but I am telling you, someone as beloved as Miggy was coming back into this stadium, it is going to be so unbelievably loud when they announce his name the first time.
The atmosphere, if you have not gotten a ticket for February 22nd, you might want to get them now before. Yeah. Do it now before the ink dries and the ticket prices triple.
Agreed.
And they need to open up the top. If they haven't considered doing that, I know it's opening day. They better.
They might want to
because they can fill it. They seriously will fill it. And I mean, when they do the announcement too, I seriously want on the ribbon board, I want them to announce everyone. I want them to start with Brad, go up through the defenders and everything like that. And then I want the whole thing. And then I want the whole thing to go black. I want fire coming up from all sides of the stadium.
I want that guy. He doesn't. I know what you want, but Miggy's not that guy. He's too humble.
Let Miggy come down. Let him hit the spike. Let him rip the shirt off and run down to the pitch and get in line. Like, it's not gonna happen.
I'm serious.
Like all sorts of Wando style, right?
Just one game. Just one game. Do it that way. But I'm serious. Like I want,
guys.
If they don't do something special to bring him back, then it's doing him a disservice.
And they will.
Just the first game.
We'll wrap it up here, but like Kat's saying, like Jennifer's saying, I'll say it too. Don't miss this moment. Because it's not going to happen again. There are moments with your club, especially when you were there from the inception, that just won't happen again. MLS Cup 2018 won't happen again. Winning your first U.S. Open Cup won't happen again. A club legend from the jump returning literally can't happen again. Don't miss this moment. Get a ticket. Get there, experience it, because I'm gonna get emotional over this shit. Like this guy means a lot, and not just for like the success, but like for the memories that we made together with him here, the memories I've made with you guys, with friends that he was a part of, that this club brought into my life. He's a large part of that, and to be able to experience that again,
and everything that we've seen of him. Yeah, and everything that we've seen of him, I know that I've loosely followed Newcastle since he left, just because I wanted to see how his career continued to blossom after he left us. And he just seems like such a genuinely good dude, too. That smile, it's so genuine and it's so pure. And it's just, if he was
how many pregnant women there are going to be in Atlanta just from seeing baby Miggy on Insta?
Man. Guys,
I'm telling you,
man.
it's just
we're starting.
He brings a joy back to this club that I don't want to say that's been missing necessarily, but I'm saying what he brings is special.
All right, look, we got to stop. We ain't starting the first pod off with me crying. I refuse. No, it's not happening.
Okay, let's do that.
No,
okay, let's not do that. Let's not do that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you very much for listening, guys. We really appreciate it.
We rambled on for far longer than we anticipated, but
it's good to be back. It's good to just be talking Atlanta United and talk about a game. And...
If you're a Wicked fan, good news. Anyway, I don't sing.
Thank you.
Part 2 comes out.
You say thank you.
When does part 2 come out? Next year? Actually, it's not called part 2. It's Wicked. Wicked for Good.
Wicked for Good. Yeah. Wicked for Good.
The first part was great. I really liked it. Thought I enjoyed it. Go see Wicked.
And I know, and I worked with Cynthia Arrivo, cool. And she's wonderful. Cool. By the way, that's great to hear. So,
all right,
yeah,
all right, y'all. We're gonna be back soon enough. We're back, baby.
Yeah, there'll be more news. I'm sure that in the coming.
Yeah, we might hop on when it's officially announced.
Let's all get caught up.
Or when we got a proper 9 here, or any other big news apart from the preseason matches that we have coming up. We're back, baby. So we will be here to talk about it. So thanks for supporting Mason Mill. Thanks for continuing to support us and everything that we're doing and communicating with us and listening to us and all that stuff. It's always very, very humbling every time we get any positive feedback from anyone. It's always just a wow, people listen to us type of feeling, and we really appreciate it. All right, we'll be back. I don't know, probably like
It's pretty cool, by the way. It's pretty cool and very humbling that you people did listen to us, and that I keep running into people that
I don't know if y'all noticed,
like,
especially if you're not watching the video feed, but Jennifer's connection didn't drop once. Fiber, what?
I got new fiber internet. See, like, I am working hard for y'all so that you can listen to me. And I also want to thank Atlanta United and Kat and Glenn for coming up with all this actual soccer related content, so y'all didn't have to listen to me rant about skating.
Nope, we're done. We're not doing skating. We're not talking about ice.
Nope.
Do it.
Go away.
Do it. That's another pod.
Cut away. Cut fade to black. Fade to black.
All right, y'all. We'll be back probably about in a week or so's time. Until then, y'all be good. We will be back.
Meow.
Mm-hmm.